For you at 4, the North Dakota Attorney General has confirmed that the Bureau of Criminal Investigation will be investigating both of the recent officer-involved shootings in Fargo. The first happened July 8th when officers approached a van, and court documents state the van began to flee directly toward officers. Veteran officer Adam O'Brien fired his gun at the van and hit the driver, 28-year-old Shane Netterville. Netterville died at the hospital hours later. The second incident happened last night after Fargo police say 28-year-old Michael Yusa was driving erratically and speeding when he hit a motorcyclist from behind on I-29. A short time later, he was reported opening fire from a third-story balcony of an apartment building. Officers say after hitting multiple vehicles, Yusa began shooting at a state trooper and was hit with return fire. Attorney General Drew Wrigley says both incidents are priority matters to the BCI and are being pieced together at the same time. But he adds there's no timeline for when either officer-involved shooting will be forwarded on to prosecutors for their own review and consideration of charges. Also new at 4, a Fargo man is charged in Cass County Court accused of holding a woman against her will and assaulting her. A West Fargo woman told police Breon Jonathan Jones came to her apartment on Monday and threatened to break down the door if she didn't let him in. Once she did, court documents state he held her down inside a bedroom for 2 hours and assaulted her while 3 young children were sleeping. Jones denied the claims. He was arrested on multiple charges, including felony restraint. One man is facing several charges after police say he broke into the same liquor store twice. That happened earlier this month at Pop's Liquor Store in East Grand Forks. Police say Michael Johnson broke into the store on July 10th, then again 3 days later, making off with merchandise both times. A few days later, Johnson was arrested at his home, where authorities say they found the stolen goods. He is now charged with burglary and theft. 2 people are facing charges for drugs in Cass County, Minnesota. The sheriff's office says on Saturday they pulled over a car near Pine River and found meth, heroin, and ammunition inside. They later raided the home connected to that vehicle and found more meth, heroin, an AR-15 style gun. 55-year-old Daniel Crawford and 30-year-old Sarah Wolf, both of Pine River, were arrested for drug and weapon charges. A North Dakota man is dead after his pickup was broadsided by a semi. Highway Patrol says the semi driver failed to yield at an intersection west of Epping, North Dakota yesterday and hit the driver's side of the pickup. A 66-year-old man from Tioga died. The semi driver wasn't hurt. Police have not yet determined if charges will be filed. Now let's go over to Hutch for a first look at the forecast. Hutch?
Look at those blue skies. Temperatures have risen here in the Southern Valley into the mid, even upper 80s out there. Out west, we have 90s again. And not much threatening in the skies right now, but we do have a chance at a few strong to severe storms tonight. Let's go over what you need to know. First and foremost, we have quiet conditions here in the valley as we look off to the west. And again, the radar is showing that we do have a swirling low pressure system exiting the Great Lakes. For us, really quiet right now, but looking at the visible satellite, we're seeing a few cumulus clouds develop near the Bismarck area and up near Minot, where there is a wave of drier and cooler air pushing through. That could be the trigger for some of our storms tonight. We're a level 1 on a 5-level risk scale for severe storms. That means 1, 2, or a few may reach severe criteria. The main threat tonight, hail and gusty straight line winds. It's hot down south. It's warm in Grand Forks as well. Lower 80s though across central Minnesota, and a little cooler and drier in north central North Dakota for tonight. Your planner in Fargo looks like this. Temperatures will be sliding down into the 70s. We will have a chance at some showers and thunderstorms. We'll time everything out for you, but by midnight or so, I think all of our counties will be free of any thunderstorm activity. We'll have details on what you can expect as we glide toward the late weekend ahead here, Stacy, in just a few moments.
All right. Thanks so much, Hutch. Hey, just a reminder, City Hall is closed today. As you can see in this live look here, the Fargo Fire Department and Police Department are conducting their violent intruder exercise. City employees and first responders are testing the city's security, shelter, and evacuation plan in case of an active shooter situation. Staying downtown, police provided a brief update on the new police substation going into that same area. The building is supposed to be completed this fall. The substation will be staffed part-time and emergency phones will be placed at the front entry with video monitors set up. This update comes as Fargo police have reported an uptick in crime downtown. They say there were 12 aggravated assaults and 22 simple assaults in the area this month, which is higher than last month. Domestic violence calls accounted for 5 of these, which is also an increase. Police say these assaults most often took place at bar close hours from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. and assaults during other times of the day were usually homeless on homeless crimes. There were 2 robberies reported this month and 21 thefts. Items like bikes, tip jars, and food were the most commonly swiped. 21-year-old Logan Roy, a man reported as a missing vulnerable adult from Maple Ridge Township on Sunday, has been found dead less than a mile from his home. That's breaking news now. According to the department, Roy experienced a mental health crisis and left his home, later sending a series of concerning text messages to his family. Family confirmed that loaded handgun was missing from the home at the time of his disappearance. The House of Representatives has voted to protect same-sex marriage nationwide. Same-sex marriage has been the topic of discussion ever since the Supreme Court ruling in 2015. Democrats pushed through yesterday's vote after the Supreme Court's recent ruling on abortion that overturned Roe v. Wade. The House bill now goes to the Senate, where its future is in doubt because it will need at least 10 Republican votes to pass. Meanwhile, in Washington, the Biden administration is wrestling with how to fight inflation, a costly reality for families around the world. We all know the price of food and other items is going up. What you may not realize is the amount of product you're getting, in some cases, is going down. Carter Evans has more.
The next time you're shopping, check closely. This Life cereal box recently got taller, but it lost 2.5 ounces. That's almost a bowl and a half of cereal. Experts call it shrinkflation.
Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a tidal wave of shrinkflation because of inflation.
Ed Dworsky founded ConsumerWorld.org, a consumer resource guide that investigates trends like shrinkflation.
It's a very sneaky way to pass on a price increase.
But he says companies are dealing with rising costs just like the rest of us.
They know consumers will notice a direct price increase, but they won't notice if the product gets a little bit smaller.
These Charmin toilet paper packages look the same, but Dworsky says the rolls recently got shorter by 30 sheets.
In 2008, ice cream came in half-gallon cartons. Then they went down to 56 ounces, and the current size is 48.
But ice cream maker Tillamook was very open about its decision, saying in order to be profitable, they decided on the option that would be least disruptive to their fans and keep the price the same.
They chose to cut the size by 14%. That means this carton used to have this much more ice cream.
Check out these bags of dog food.
The larger bag said you were getting 3 pounds free. The smaller bag says you're getting 4 pounds free for the same price. What gives?
There's no free lunch, even for your dog. It went from 50 pounds to 44. That's all you need to know. Forget about all the fanciful marketing language.
And it's hard to tell one of these bottles of dish soap has a ½ ounce less.
How do you spot shrinkflation?
It's not easy to spot at all. We all have to become much more net weight conscious. That means look at the products you buy every day, and when you go to the store, see if it's changed or not.
But Dworsky has no indication manufacturers are trying to rip people off.
I can imagine it's not an easy decision for companies.
It's actually a costly decision for companies. They have to retool their manufacturing plant. They have to resize the packaging. But even with all those costs, manufacturers think it's worth it.
When the economy gets a little bit better, do you think we'll see sizes get bigger?
It tends to be a one-way street.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Meanwhile, President Biden announced today new steps to combat climate change, saying, quote, "This is an emergency and I will look at it that way." The executive actions will bolster the domestic offshore wind industry in the Gulf of Mexico and Southeast, as well as expand efforts to help communities cope with soaring temperatures through federal programs.
I've directed my administration to clear every federal hurdle and streamline federal permitting that brings these clean energy projects online right now and right away.
President Biden delivered his pledge at a former coal-fired power plant in Massachusetts, which is shifting to offshore wind power manufacturing. He says he chose it as the embodiment of the transition to clean energy that he's seeking, but has struggled to realize in the first 18 months of his presidency.